Hey everybody, welcome. Just trying to get the webcam here to where things look good. Trying to get the lighting to where it looks all right. Good enough for now, right? Welcome everybody. So I think we're calling it on this one. This will be the final live stream as we enter our summer hiatus. So congratulations to everybody who's been with us since January when we got this YouTube channel back and when we put the podcast into overdrive. Podcast started late last year. And then when we found out that we had gotten our YouTube channel back, we just, really went for it. And there's the link in troll box to my Substack. Substack is where my email newsletter is found. Thousands of you guys already get the updates over there. I think about 4,000 of you. But go ahead and be 4,001. Add your email address. And that way you'll stay in touch. Yeah, welcome everybody. Get the numbers up. Much to discuss. And again, this will be the final stream, the final live component before we enter the summer hiatus, where the podcast is going to go on a pause and these video updates are going to be more infrequent as I start my summer season travels. And I thought about incorporating my travels into the videos, all these high-end luxury places, all these elite networking watering holes. And then I thought, it'd be really cool is not to do that at all. To be able to just hang up my old career, my old identity as a YouTuber, to literally just hang that hat up and move on, move on to the good life. And I'm happy to do that. So again, I'm going to honor the summer hiatus and disappear and read and get more of a suntan than I usually have and talk to the locals wherever I happen to be and embrace the local culture, whatever it happens to be. When in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? Yeah, welcome everybody, though. It's been an incredible journey. Incredible that a third of my life has been spent midwifing the Bitcoin and crypto revolution. And I think that one came in with Bit approaching the fifth largest asset on the planet by market capitalization. And with its number two, Ethereum, back above $300 billion market cap. I feel like I really can just hang my hat up and move on and let younger people yap. Let the younger folks yap because I feel like we've solved for abundance, Bitcoin and the blockchain. We've solved for elite creepiness, Pizzagate. There was something to those emails, whether it takes the retarded journalism community 20 years to congratulate me for it. I don't care. There is something to those emails. I'm not going to sit here and sit on my hands and wait for some third party to tell me I did good there when there are millions of us who read those emails and the associated Instagram accounts and all that stuff. And to this day, we think there's something weird. And if there's nothing weird, if those emails were all above board, why did WikiLeaks release them in the first place? That's not really their MO. They don't release stuff that's just totally legit and isn't going to be controversial in any way whatsoever and only underscores the legitimacy of the establishment. That's not usually what WikiLeaks does. But that's all water under the bridge. And again, this is such a small part of my identity, such a small part of what I do at this point, that I'm happy to put it on pause for the whole summer. And I'm out of stocks. Right now, the breakdown is gold ETF. So paper gold on Wall Street, Bit, Ether, and let me see here. I think that's it. So I'm on the sell in May and go away diet. So I sold all my stock positions. I just think the tariff stuff is too confusing. I'm not Rain Man. I can't figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, it means there are probably a whole bunch of dummies out there who can't figure it out either. And I'm just done with that. I'm done with the stock market run by a bunch of monkeys. Got back to what I know, which is rare commodities. That's what's always treated me best, is rare stuff that I take the time to understand. That's what has always treated me best economically, whether it be collectible coins or crypto or again, gold. Cape Cod is lovely in the summer. I actually have plans to take the jet up there at some point. Some point this summer, I want to do Cape Cod and also Rhode Island. Gonna check out probably Newport for a little bit. Yeah, in many ways, the jet is transformative because you can just go anywhere. You can announce a meetup somewhere, be on the other side of the country. Suddenly, it goes from a whole day of travel and a bunch of organizing and stressing out to boom, like a teleportation machine. I'm just there hours later. But yeah, Bitcoin or a gold Krugerrand or the love of Jesus. You could pick only one. Troll box, sound off. Those are your options. And no phone a friend, no lifeline. Get either 10 Bitcoin or equal corresponding value in gold Krugerrands or the love of Jesus. You have to pick one. Hey, what's up, Vibro? Welcome. Good to see one of our OGs over here as we head into this holiday weekend. Or it's a holiday here in the US. I don't think it is in Europe. Well, he's not going to betray Jesus for 10 Bitcoin. All right, how about 15? No. All right, so someone has chosen Jesus over crypto or gold. But yeah, so absolutely fascinating journey. And people who think I don't like it anymore, I don't think there's much else you can say about it. These people who are excited about it every day. So you're excited about rare text characters. You're excited about private keys and stuff. That's what does it for you. It gets you all excited all day long, and you got the headphones on and the hoodie on. All these dudes in their 20s, like that's what does it for you. Is just like the blockchain. Okay, cool. Like we helped put that there in terms of make it popular. The community here watching today's stream are among some of the people who had the staying power to not let this be trampled back when it could have been trampled very easily. It was on the rocks culturally and financially. That Sam Bankman-Fried thing could have easily killed it off, I think. And it held in there, thankfully. Held in there, and that unkempt slob was not able to destroy our sacred crypto. He was only able to hold it back for a couple of years. And now he's rotting in prison, and the rest of us are making money. Any other city suggestions other than Cape Cod? Again, that one's already under advisement. And the jet can go anywhere, so don't feel like distance matters. Distance does not matter. You could be on the other side of the earth, and I would potentially check it out if it was interesting. I feel like that was a good upgrade as a journalist too. If somebody makes that weird argument that guy made on Joe Rogan, a British guy, what is he, British or Australian? Murray, right? Douglas Murray or Murray Douglas. Just one of those little establishment dudes they put on tour. And his argument he was making against the comedian, I think Dave Smith, is Douglas Murray. His argument is very kind of very prissy British argument, was that you can't have an opinion about a place you haven't been to. If you weren't there and you didn't see it, you can't have an opinion on it. Well, I guess nobody could be Christian then, right? Because none of us were there for the crucifixion. And I guess none of us can use computers because we didn't personally see Steve Jobs have the initial conversations with Steve Wozniak about how to solder the first Apple circuit boards together, or the similar conversations that Bill Gates had with his co-founder, Paul Allen. Because I'm not privy to that stuff. I guess technology doesn't exist. I guess because I haven't been to the sun. I haven't been to the surface of the sun. I can't be sure about getting a sunburn. Like, okay, this is the most retarded argument I've ever heard of. This Platonic cave shit. How do you know what you know? How do you know what you know? Well, I start by downvoting the legitimacy of anybody riding on their accent is their main indicator of their intelligence, right? I start there. You get minus 10 points immediately. But yeah, this Douglas Murray dude. If you haven't been there, how do you know? How do you know? So, well, that's why we have history books and journalism and online video. Is we can't all be somewhere when something happens, and yet we're able to watch speeches even after they occur. Like, what the fuck is this guy arguing? Sorry, it's brainworms. I don't want to debate it anymore because it's like total brainworms, right? And people are like, "Oh, he was so smart. Did you catch this guy on Rogan?" I watched it for a few minutes. It was like, okay, I don't, it's a great way to discredit the burgeoning truth community. Were you actually at Epstein's Island? Did you personally see these fucking people there? Nope. Then you can't have a say. How convenient if we make that the new cultural norm. If you weren't there, you don't know. Okay, that's not really how the legal system works. Or again, journalism or online video or basic human curiosity. It's not really how those things work. Got somebody else going with Jesus. Anybody taking the Krugerians? Anybody saying no to crypto? No to Jesus? Just taking the gold and running? Anybody? Yeah, you're right. Jesus would not like these transaction fees. These transaction fees on the blockchain are too much. You would flip that table for sure. You drink the same water? Excellent. Yeah, this is one of my favorite waters for people who care. When I'm being in show mode and I need hydration around me, I prefer these. They're cheaper than Evian, tastes better. Evian has some weird smoothness to it I don't like. This tastes just like normal water, except it comes from melted glaciers. Of course, melted glaciers. But it just tastes like completely normal water, which is what your water should taste like, in my opinion. Should be absent any hints of anything, you know. Yeah, welcome everybody, and thank you for participating in what is likely again the final live stream before we go into summer hiatus. Summer hiatus is like hibernation mode for many online shows. We crawl back into our shells. This is when we do things like our company retreat, and it's where Missy and I will chart out the next 6 months when we come back. We'll chart out what we plan on discussing and who we want to interview in the fall and winter. So I think it's going to be a busy end of year. This isn't me retiring from the year. It's again just the summer hiatus. And traditionally, markets and stuff, much lower volume, much less excitement, even if things slide. It's less going on, less people at their desks, less deals being made. At this point, I don't see any major businesses. Pretty soon, anyways, as we get closer to June, I don't see any major businesses announcing some paradigm shattering Bitcoin policy. I think what we know is what we know. Headed into the summer, I don't see any major transformative updates. I could be wrong. As always, I could be wrong. But yeah, if everybody's influenced by the water I'm drinking, hit the link in description. You guys should all get my Substack, every single one of you, even the people watching on replay, people watching the archived version tonight or this weekend. Go hit the link in description. If you're so influenced by the water I drink, get my email updates. As 4,000 of you already get those email updates, folks. There's a free version, which is overwhelmingly easy to sign up for. And there's a paid version, which lets you comment and email me, a whole bunch of other perks. It's a real community over there we've built up over the course of years. And we built it up without the benefit of this YouTube fame. So to have this back, I think it's going to be a accelerant. So to be some kind of accelerant or some kind of fuel where the Substack might grow even faster now. But again, we've got this nice foundation of several thousand people. who found us over the years we weren't here, just through their own intrepid, search engine sifting. They came across one of my random Substack articles one day, and these people, one by one, were so impressed with our content that they signed up. Again, to get that many people in the absence of YouTube and the absence of a big podcast, I'm excited to now send these people there with the benefit of having both, right? The benefit of having both those afterburners on at the same time. Hey, what's up, Iceland? Oh no, you're not from Iceland. You're just giving them a shout out. Yeah, I need to visit. Actually, maybe that's my spot. Maybe I should go to where my water comes from. Is that the ultimate indulgent move? Go to the town where my preferred water comes from. Let's see. And Hilderendi, or Hilat, it's an H followed by an L, so I can't pronounce that. And some town in Ulfis, Iceland, or some address in Ulfis. Hmm. Bottled at the source, Ulfis Spring. So that's where I should go, right? Ulfis Spring, Iceland. It's a good suggestion. Thank you, guys. They probably have other industries, I'm sure, other than just bottling water. Probably some other industries up there in Iceland. Yeah, I've heard beautiful people, good bar scene. People have complained that I've seen online reviews complaining that the drinks are too expensive. I don't know how expensive they're talking about, but I'm pretty sure I can afford it. Pretty sure if I were to go there for a few days on my plane, I could probably cover the drinks too, unless they're like $1 million drinks or something. I don't know. I'm assuming. You know what happens when you assume, right? There's always boomers who say that to me. You know what happens when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. My uncle said that to me once, my late uncle. I don't know. I don't know what it was in reference to. It's many years ago. Yeah, when you assume. Well, if you never assume, you can't place trades. If you never assume, you can't make life decisions. You can't find a partner. You can't find a life partner. You can't have kids if you never assume. You can't start a business if you never assume there's demand. So sometimes you have to assume. You have to presume. Yeah, that's my producer. Vibro knows all the lore. He knows all the fulcrum characters and all the lore for many years of us being around on the internet. And they tried to silence us. And now the world is using our currency as if it's the new gold. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating behavior to like mock me and silence me for years. And then, oh, hey, you're the new elite. Have a nice day. Wow. Didn't see it happening quite like that. That's how it happened. Pretty weird. You folks are bizarre, right? We're just gonna, we're gonna cancel culture you and silence you. We're gonna delete your Joe Rogan episodes, make it seem like you never even existed. Put some soccer player who's been retired half his life, some soccer player from the year of the flood. We're gonna put him up in search results, and whenever somebody searches for you, we're gonna populate search results with his boring bullshit. Not only is soccer boring, but this is reminiscing about soccer matches that happened 25 years ago. Make it make sense, folks. But anyway, we got our standing back on Google search. We got our YouTube back. Since January, we've hit the ground running, have put up a tremendous amount of content on here. Some interviews with people that I've been wanting to interview. So we've closed some karmic timelines. Some great interviews have posted. I've done some cool explanations of things that have been on my mind since I was deplatformed, things like quantum immortality and quantum computing more generally. We've dove into those topics, talked about AI, the implications of that. So much has been really tossed around since January. And I feel totally satisfied. I feel like we entered this summer hiatus as a team that's very much in need of a break. Me and my producer, you guys are name checking in the comments. Me and my producer, Missy, I feel like we have a well deserved break in store. And again, this is the time when things like the company retreat happen and brainstorming for the future and lining up some of our bigger name guests, some of the people who take weeks to get a yes from, getting some of those people lined up so that we can hit the ground running in the fall and winter and continue to impress and surprise you guys. Because I think Bit going from nothing to, again, the fifth or sixth largest asset on the planet, and Ethereum going from nothing to Bitcoin's largest competitor by value, by market cap. These are incredible wins. And all these quotes by like Stanley Druckenmiller and even old Soros, all these investing quotes, they all say you don't have to get it right every time. You don't have to, nor can you, get 100% of your bets correct. Instead, it's very important that when you get something right, that it comes in big. As I believe the Soros quote goes, it's not how often you win or lose, it's how much you win when you're right and how much you lose when you're wrong. And so it's been a fascinating journey. And so much of that journey has been essentially solo flying, where I'm making decisions and there really isn't any community input, at least not until later on when I'm telling you guys what I chose to do. But during the course of the investment, and while I'm waiting for it to either do well or not do well, I'm shouldering my own burden, kind of shouldering my own, viewpoint. And when it comes in, there's nothing more rewarding. Nothing more rewarding than that as Bitcoin and Ether have come in, to a lesser extent, as some of these quantum computer companies have done very well for us also. But yeah, moving forward, I've taken the sell in May diet to heart, sold out all my stock positions, only hold Bitcoin, Ether, and Wall Street gold, gold that's wrapped in an ETF. And I'll get back into stocks when I feel like it's wise. But I see too much writing on the wall. I see increased selling, it looks like, from Jamie Dimon, the head of JP Morgan Chase. So increased selling from Jamie Dimon. Why would he sell his own company's stock if he thinks the short-term future of the economy is strong? Why would he want to sell? So just too much insider selling at the moment. Michael Burry selling off all of his stocks. And of course, many people think Michael Burry is a kook, right? A kook who overcalls things. And regardless, he put his money where his mouth is, because again, he sold off all his stocks aside from Estee Lauder, the cosmetics company, which he increased a position on. Pretty can't get more contrarian than that, right? He thinks the future of the world is apparently French makeup. Not really the hedge that I would have chosen. Again, I've chosen gold. I think gold is more universal hedge than cosmetics, but to each their own. Richard says Bitcoin was created to compete with gold. Gold wins. Gold wins. I think there's plenty of room for both these things to succeed. And the great frailty of gold is it has no native payment network, right? I think, as Elon Musk once said, having an email that says you have gold is not the same thing as actually having gold. So you might as well have Bitcoin, right? It's like if you just need representation on a screen that you have something, why not just use Bitcoin, where you can prove that you have a certain amount of Bitcoin with relative ease. You can't do that with gold. Even if you show people what you have in a vault, they don't know that it's real. There have been a lot of stories posted to YouTube and elsewhere of tungsten bars emerging in Asia. Tungsten is a metal that's very close mass-wise to gold. So they wrap it in a little bit of gold, and then tungsten bar it passes the weight test or the mass test, and you'd have to cut the thing open to actually see that it's a rip-off bar. So a lot of problems with gold. So auditability of gold is a problem. In fact, you can't audit for purity that easily. And the no payment network is killer. How do you get it from one vault to another? The oceans are literally littered with the unreceived gold deposits from past empires, right? Our oceans, Pacific, Atlantic. Many of the shipwrecks were transporting gold. That's what they were doing, was transporting gold bullion from one point to another. And so the lack of payment network is real weakness. And with Bitcoin, it's the opposite, right? It's the lack of physicality. It's the fact that if some super smart AI, some strong AI were to somehow carry out a worldwide hack of the grid and turn off power for an extended period of time, or if it were to happen due to like a solar flare or orchestrated EMPs happening all over the place at once, if one of these things were to happen and if the internet were to go bye-bye, so would your money, right? In theory, if you have no internet, the utility of Bitcoin is decreased drastically. Drastic reduction in what Bitcoin is and then how you can use it. So I see the solution to this problem is to straddle the middle, that because there's no asset that does everything, I don't want to have all my money in Bit, but I also don't want to have all my money in gold, right? And then the gold for me satisfies, what if the internet goes down? Well, then I have gold in a vault in London or in Hong Kong or New York or somewhere. We got gold in a vault that's secured by a bunch of armed guards and underwritten by a huge bank. Then I've got that covered. But if the internet continues on, which I think is overwhelmingly likely, I think the continuation of civilization is the overwhelmingly obvious bet. Let's say 95% odds that we continue to have internet and rule of law and a mostly peaceful civilization. Then it seems like Bit would be the one to take off because it is capped at 21 million. No more shall ever be created beyond that 21 million. And if millions of new people start using it to pay their rent or to receive value from others as receipt for goods or services, if it actually succeeds as a currency, basically, I could see that being very valuable, as can many others. Yeah, somebody in the comments says they've even seen 1 ounce bars that look authentic, but they're fakes. Yeah, it's a real issue. And as more people buy their gold from internet websites and stuff, and as more of the gold comes from Asia, you got to make sure that you're buying the real thing. Unfortunately, no matter how savvy you are, it comes down to you need to X-ray it or you need to chop it in half. Most people don't have those resources. Most people don't have, a little gold lab where they can chop things in half all day and melt things down and test for purity. Whereas Bitcoin, it's very easy, right? With the blockchain, you just look and see if the money's there or not. You go on a blockchain explorer, like blockchain.com, and you can see in seconds, is the money there, is it not? It's a serious feature ad over what gold does. And you don't have to worry about a certain amount of your Bitcoin being lost at the bottom of the ocean. A transatlantic transfer of Bitcoin is no more difficult from sending Bitcoin to a neighbor down the hall. So the internet has come through for us in a big way, a very big way. I think the closest analogy to Bitcoin is email. If you want a way to start thinking about it so you're not so overwhelmed, it's the email of value. It's the email of rarity. Interesting. It's very interesting comments. Yeah, a number of you guys have done well from crypto, definitely. It is not over. The problems that crypto solves, these problems are not packing up and going away. they seem to be getting even bigger. So it's like now we have a president who supports Bitcoin and supports people using crypto in the US. We have that for the first time ever. And the problems crypto addresses haven't gone away. So those two things make me very bullish on crypto at the moment. Supportive administration, and it's solving for a need that's growing. The need isn't getting smaller, the need is growing. So, and again, I only hold gold as a total hedge against the possible failure of crypto. It would be my preference for crypto to work. That would be my preference over some Mad Max situation where we're paying each other in gold bars, delivered in the cover of night, men with hoodies on like fucking Jedi or something. That's not the preference for the future. I think we'll be better to each other if we have a blockchain that we all believe in. I think that's a brighter future for everybody. Yeah, it's a good point. When you're buying gold, you can stick to the well-known 1 ounces, which are Gold Eagles, Krugerrands, Maple Leafs, and others. Is this person listed? What about the failure of the dollar? Well, as the dollar starts to fail in its purchasing power, if it does, as it starts to fail, it seems like the transition to Bitcoin is an easy one. Just an ACH transfer from somebody's checking account to an exchange where they can buy some Bitcoin, or they buy through their brokerage account, right? An ETF that represents the value of Bitcoin or that mimics the value of Bitcoin. So it seems now it's very easy for a person to be exposed to it as the dollar declines, if it does. And gold, you can go on a gold website, or you go to a recent gold, you go to a local gold store. There's been a lot of stuff recently about these local gold shops offering people pretty good discounts, below the usual markup. So we see all these things firing on all cylinders, right? We got robust gold demand. These gold shops, again, just selling people gold at lower margins because they're starting to see volume, starting to see more people buying, I think. So robust gold market. And then on the other side of things, crypto. And these two things are they should see each other as allies, because again, no party has everything. Gold does not have a payment network, and Bitcoin is the perfect payment network, but it doesn't exist anywhere in physical space. It's all just information. That's its one failing point, is it's not a physical thing. It's not a physical asset, but everything else is perfect. Whereas gold, it just sits there. It just absolutely sits there. But what it has going for it is the rarity. It can't be hacked. Unhackable rarity. Phil says, we are so lucky we can trade dirty fiat for hard money. I like that. It's a good way of looking at things. Shoot, it's already later than I thought it was. I'm going to head out in a second, but if you guys want to continue the conversation, again, link in description, get my emails. I always send out random stuff whenever I feel like it, whenever I come across some epiphany or some interesting data that I want to share. You guys are usually the first to know, those who get the newsletter. And yeah, absolutely fascinating time period to see these things that we speculated about for years actually be some of the largest assets on the planet years later. It's so incredible, absolutely incredible. But yeah, even if you hate precious metals, though, I think, again, from a thought experiment standpoint, the only true hedge against the failure of your favorite crypto is not another crypto. It's something like gold or something like silver or totally paid off real estate. right? Those are the hedges to a blockchain, in my opinion. And then if you have your hedges set and you're not sitting there, you're not sitting there with every single dollar on the roulette table and you're going to lose your house or whatever if the roulette wheel doesn't do what you want it to do. This way, it's like you don't care as much. You hope that the blockchain doesn't get hacked. You hope that AI doesn't attack it with a bunch of quantum brute force stuff in 4 or 5 years. But ultimately, you don't care because if that were to happen, your gold would probably skyrocket, right? So I see just things in terms of possibilities. And is there a high chance the blockchain is ever hacked or destroyed? No, there's not. Very low chance. But just in case that happens, at least I've, in a sense, insured against that possibility. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful summer. What a great group of people to let us come back here back in January and to say our say and to put up all these videos, which now you guys can exhaustively go through and get caught up if you haven't yet. What a truly great group of people, though. 130,000 of you. That's like 2 filled football stadiums. It's basically 2 Super Bowl stadiums of people. So I don't know each one of you personally, but I suspect you're all interested in the same things or you wouldn't be here. I suspect you have many of the same interests, or again, you would not be here listening and watching. So thank you guys so much. What an awesome group of folks. And we'll be back whenever this hiatus ends. Whenever I feel like the summer has been fully absorbed and we're all mentally fresh and physically well rested and our pockets even more full than today. When these conditions are met, I'll come back and we'll do more interviews and stuff. But yeah, if you want to continue the conversation, like I was saying, that link in description to the emails, and then listen to yesterday's podcast. Great interview I did with my old friend Ram Aluwalia from Lumina Wealth. And we talked about Bitcoin and the tariffs, what Trump might be trying to accomplish with these tariffs, and some other topics. So again, that should be the last video, and it's the most recent podcast interview. Hey, thank you, Richard. Thank you, Vibro. And thank you, everybody else. Silver, thank you. Appreciate it. Hopefully it's a summer of love. Summer of love for our favorite assets, right? Hopefully. But no guarantees.